Hello, and welcome to the Opinionated Geek podcast. I am your host, John Hanna. Uh, this is episode 18, and this is going to be a short one, sadly, because there's not a whole lot going on. There's a lot of stuff I'm trying to do, but not a whole lot going on. First and foremost, though, I got an actual computer chair. So I even noticed it last night where I was actually playing Far Cry 5, and I actually had to force myself to actually stop playing because I could actually go on a lot longer than my straight back dining room table chair that I was actually in for my main chair. But my friends had a few lying around, so they gave me a nice little chair. And way more comfortable, way more pleasing. Because it actually does kind of suck, because when this is your main source of entertainment, like this is where I go to watch essentially TV. It's mainly YouTube nowadays. Occasionally I'll check out some like Hulu, or I don't even have Netflix right now because overall I haven't been too impressed with Netflix. We'll wait until they got a nice big lineup going on, then we'll go back to it, because I need to watch stuff like Full Metal Alchemist live action film, even though I've not heard great things. But I also did another little surprise thing with for one of the end things on the podcast. It might turn out to be a somewhat long podcast, but we'll have to wait and see, because I kind of do these on the fly. I should probably plan a little bit more better, but I just don't. This is more for myself, and eventually I would like to use this to make money to open up a coffee shop that I would want to open, which is basically going to be geek themed and all that stuff. But that's neither here nor there yet at this point, so I'm not saying anything about it. Hopefully this stream is going to be a little bit more better than the last one. My one friend tried to watch me last time we did the podcast, and for whatever reason the audio was messed up. And for him, somebody else came in and said the room was completely fine. He heard everything just quite clearly. So I'm assuming it was my friend's connection or what he was using. But either way, we're still using XSplit for this period of time. I definitely like some of the stuff that I seen that's got built in, so I could share that I'm live automatically to everybody. Well, it's not quite automatically, but it's fairly there. So what games I've been playing? I've been, of course, playing Far Cry 5. I should have it beat by the end of the week, and then I can actually start moving on to stuff that matters more so. I want to move on to Divinity Original Sin 2. It's a game that I had started, and I stopped playing due to whatever. Streaming has been a godsend. Basically, because I'm on a schedule, I'm staying consistent with the games that I'm playing, because I don't want people to not come in and see that I'm playing a different game like every single day. So I want to stay consistent. What else? I haven't played it yet, and this is also another thing I need to go over. Is I can't seem to win. I'm trying to stay consistent with certain things, but I'm also trying to be more active in my life as well. And the streaming has definitely helped. I've actually started writing a book I've been working on, and I think that's due to this podcast, and the streaming is making me more creative and making me want to do more things. But also, the other thing that it's making me want to do is it's making me want to what you call it? Uh Go out and be more active. So, I'm hey, how's it going? Everything's doing pretty good. So, basically, I'm going to change my Twitch schedule again. And I didn't want to do it, but I'm, again, because I'm so antisocial, I'm trying to find ways to be social. And on a whim, because I've been trying Gwent and I've been trying Hearthstone, and although those games are really fun for what they are, uh, it's still lacking for me, mainly because it's the non-physical aspect of it. The I like the ability to be able to trade cards and uh, buy cards and stuff like that. Where with Gwent and Hearthstone, since they're digital, they don't even have an option to share. They have an option to destroy your cards, and that gives you a little bit of stuff to make a new card. But of course, obviously, it's not a one-for-one trade-off. So you basically got to destroy a lot of cards to make one card. So that's my biggest complaint there. And I need to get out of the house more, etc., etc. So what I'm probably going to be doing is maybe crossing off Friday, because what I would typically do on Fridays is I would go to a movie, so I can actually talk about it on this podcast. Then I would actually go back home and start streaming. Well, I want to do this Friday Night Magic that they have every Friday at my local comic book store right around the corner. And I haven't played Magic in 21 years. And I decided I'm going to start doing that because I want to play a card game. And although the digital card games are alright, they just aren't fulfilling that gap I'm really looking for. And again, that allows me to go out, meet new people, and instead of staying in my house. And although I don't mind doing that, I just need to get out, and the streaming has definitely helped. In fact, this was probably got me to want to go out, because I feel I'm a little bit more comfortable with stuff. But for the most part, it was getting pretty bad. I until I started streaming, I'm pretty a shut-in kind of guy. I just go to work, come home, and that's basically it. And if I'll go to a grocery store if I have to. But for the most part, I really didn't do anything. So that's my goal. And dang it, I forgot to put this up. So yeah, we're gonna be starting Magic the Gathering. It kind of sucks because it's like starting all over. I'm just like video games. I regret my selling my stuff. So all my you're right. One of my things that I've always have done in the past is I would always get a console for Christmas, and then basically once that console kind of died and the next one came out, you basically, as a kid, you would trade in your console, all your old games, for games of the new console. And of course, the years going by and you're like, why did I ever do that? I should have never did that. And that's what it's like. I feel like with selling your Magic cards as well. So I'm tempted to just go back and get some of my favorite cards that I originally like. Like I like the Wrath of God, uh, Ivory Gargoyles, and I never owned this, but one of my friends back in the day opened it up in a booster pack. But I love the look of the card of Jester's Cap for the Ice Age expansion, so I might want to get like that one and the other ones as well. I don't have a whole lot of cards that I'm like, oh, I need to go and get that. In fact, for the most part, when you're going to these Magic events, as far as I know, you're not even allowed to play expansions that old. They just basically are non-existent. I am talking to myself. This is a podcast, and I will upload it eventually to an audio format for people to listen to. But if anybody does want to listen to me, that's completely fine. So that's my plan as far as doing that and getting out of the house. So on to other topics. Capcom is re-releasing 2 classic Mega Man games on NES and Super NES. And they're going to put them in 30th anniversary editions. There we go. Cartridges, and they'll actually have all the box artwork and box work. I don't think they're going to have. Okay, they are going to have instruction manuals too. So, and unlike the Street Fighter 2 version that they came out with, apparently, they are actually going for $100 a piece, and it's they're going to have the NES Mega Man 2 and the Mega Man X, like in the picture above. Now, that's expensive, obviously. Apparently, they're going to have retro pack-in surprises, whatever the heck that means. The one benefit, though, is apparently on their site, there is no "this cartridge may cause a fire," which they had that in the Street Fighter 2 cartridge when they brought that out. And everybody was like, what's the point of spending $100 on one of these things just to sit it on your shelf if you can't even play it in your Super Nintendo? So I'm not sure if they're just removing that completely, and it's one of those things that's play at your own risk to get more people to buy it, or if they actually fixed whatever might cause a fire. But yeah, for the most part, I'm like, it's kind of a pointless thing if you can't play it. Now, I know some people are just like, well, I'm going to keep it wrapped, and so that, makes it more valuable. But yeah, it's, to me, it's kind of cool, but $100, no, thank you. I'm good. This was probably to me, one of the kind of the saddest things in a while that I've heard. And Total Biscuit has, or as he's known in his real life, is John Bain, has announced that he is retiring as a game critic because he doesn't have long left to live due to the fact that he's got cancer. And that kind of really sucks because probably one of the first times I actually started realizing that YouTube was a thing is when I came across Total Biscuit's videos and his in-depth reviews. And it just really sucks, man. I'm horrible at articulating when it comes to people possibly dying. Now, he's still currently apparently going to be doing streaming and stuff, and he's going to be doing co-op stuff with his wife, but he is not going to be doing game criticisms anymore, and I'm sure that's just due to being stressed with having to make deadlines and stuff like that. And when you're dealing with cancer, you don't need any stress. You just need to focus on you, yourself, and that's about it. Uh, and I also kind of feel bad about Dodger because Dodger's close friends with Total Biscuit, and she just had a baby. So it's like you want to be happy because you had a kid and all that stuff, but then there's the other part that your friend is saying he doesn't have enough long to live, and yeah, it sucks because for a while there he was updating us with everything seems to be fine and it hasn't spread. It's basically being contained, and I guess the chemotherapy has stopped working. But I guess the nice positive thing, if there could be a positive thing, is the cancer that he does have, which I forget what he actually does have. Uh, it's typically given. It's usually older people have it, so he has been able to live a lot longer than most people. Uh, I think it was typically a year, and he's lived a lot longer than a year. So I hope some miracle happens that he actually does uh, get better, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Oh, it is colon cancer. Yeah, my I want to say my dad was starting to get a little bit of that, and but he had another situation where they were down there anyway, and he was able to get it taken care of ahead of time before it like got really worse. But yeah, it sucks. But especially when he's one of them people. It's like, man, I wish I could be as well articulated and a uh, just overall great social person. And you got uh, someone like him that can do it, and it's basically getting tossed out the window by the forces of nature, I guess. Uh, and I always thought it was kind of cool because I live in North Carolina, and I think he lives kind of near Charlotte, so he lives like an hour and a half away from me. So I always thought that was kind of cool, as well as Cliffy B. He lives somewhere in here in North Carolina too. But anyway, I was going to do other news stories, but I thought I'm just not even going to bother with it. Uh, let's kind of get on to the main thing that I really want to talk about, and that is uh, I went Friday and I seen Avengers Infinity War. Now, I don't want to spoil it, but I feel like I need to kind of spoil it. Uh, but I haven't seen the new Thor, and I didn't get to see also Black Panther. So I'll basically have to wait. Well, Thor's out right now where I can actually rent it if I want. Uh, Black Panther obviously isn't, but I'll have to wait and see those. But for the most part, I've seen all of them except for the standalone Hulk films because I just don't care about the Hulk. Uh, but with Infinity War was actually really awesome. I was starting to get superhero fatigue. That's why I skipped on Thor and Black Panther. But with once I got the Movie Pass subscription, I was just like, you know what? Let's just decide to get it, and then we can just watch this and see how it goes. And actually, I was glad I did because they went a different way that wasn't the typical, not so typical anyway, of a Marvel thing. You still had a little bit of comedy, but it had a definite darker tone to it, and it's probably, I would say, and I'm trying not to be one of those people. It's like, well, it's the newest one, so it's the awesomest one. as far as movies, but I definitely think it was kind of like the Shadows of, yeah, Shadows of the Empire, uh, Empire Strikes Back of the Marvel films. Uh, Not quite as dark as Logan, but then again, I don't think Logan is. No, I don't consider Logan to be a uh, Marvel film. I think it's a Fox film. But overall, a very, very, very good movie, and I actually like the how everything went down. I do have a few complaints. My one of my complaints is they didn't kill the Hulk because I don't like him. Uh, Actually, I guess I'm going. Actually, I'm going to start talking about, I guess, spoilers. That's going to do it again. I need to figure out how to make sure it doesn't start replaying again. But so overall, what I liked about it was it basically, even though it's a comic book film, so that doesn't matter. It never matters because there's multiple universes anyway. So if you just want to start it up again, you can start it up again. But they basically killed off all the, well, non-important people. The people that are actually looking to retire from this franchise. So Tony Stark's still there. What you call it? Iron Man. Or yeah. Tony Stark is Iron Man. Uh, Captain America's still there. And the Hulk's still there. And obviously, we know that that's not going to be the end of the situation because they already have plans for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And when everybody has already died, uh, obviously you're going to have to find some way to bring them back. So that's an instant, not a big deal, and kind of, uh, it's kind of a non-issue, even though Peter Parker, when he went kaput, he did a really good job of actually putting a little bit of emotion behind it, so it actually felt like it was actually you're going to miss something. Uh, Thanos is actually they did actually good job because overall in all the Marvel films they actually didn't talk about what he really truly wanted besides to kill people or kill beings, I should say, because there's aliens and all that stuff. Uh, but they actually did a really good job where it's like you can kind of sympathize with him. It's like you don't necessarily like how his idea of what he wants to do, and this is his solution. But I feel like as a human being, you can understand that, especially for me, like an antisocial person. I'm like, there's too many people in this world, so I get him to a certain extent. It's just that you don't basically. I'm not sure of what the proper term is. Is it euthanize? But basically, just kill off a lot of people, and that will take care of the world's problems, whether with its resources and all that stuff. So it's one of the things where for a crazy person it looks good on paper, but it's there's got to be a better way. But overall, it's definitely a must watch film if you're into the Marvel stuff. Uh, Also, I didn't like how they've handled the Hulk either, because basically Thanos kicked his butt in the beginning of the film right from the get go, and I guess because the Hulk himself was afraid of Thanos, he apparently was having performance issues and wouldn't come out of Bannon. So therefore, you never got to see the Hulk the rest of the movie, essentially. So he was in the Hulk Buster Iron Man outfit. So yeah. But what I did see of like Wakanda and when they actually showed it, I'm like, I can understand why Black Panther was such a cool film. It definitely has a unique take, and it's nice that it's actually in a different part of the world, and it's got the different culture type stuff. So I'll definitely be watching that as soon as it comes out because it did look really cool with what I saw with what they had in Infinity War. Because of course that's where the kind of like the main battle takes place. Uh, Everybody's angry at Star Lord because he's essentially uh the movie. Of course, could have ended, but of course, he found out that Thanos kills Gamora, so therefore, in the grand scheme of things, he gets upset, and as they're trying to pull off the gauntlet, he gets angry and starts like trying to beat the heck out of him. And in the end, uh, he knocks Mantis out and causing uh, Thanos to wake up, and then basically he's like, "Hey, give me my glove back or gauntlet back." And that's kind of like the well, there was that possibility, but of them winning, but in the end, according to Doctor Strange, apparently, like within 14 million different choices, uh, only one way they could have won, which I'm assuming is the path that they took, and that's why in the movie Doctor Strange just casually handed the time stone to Thanos because uh, in the possibilities of winning, it wasn't their time. So, of course, at the end credits scene, it's Captain Marvel, who Samuel L. Jackson pages, which I find it hilarious that they put that in there. But of course, as Samuel L. Jackson was dying, of course, they had to cut that as he was dying. But it's Samuel Jackson, so everything is motherfucker. So as he was dying, it said mother, and of course it cut him off. So I always thought that was hilarious. I always thought they should actually put that in the prequels too of Star Wars. I'm like, come on, Samuel Jackson not saying motherfucker in a movie, that's just sacrilege. And they should at least did something. But overall, great film. Obviously, I just spoiled it, but if you haven't seen it, I would go see it. And this is the only thing I don't like about XSplit. I can't get the movie to loop. But anyway, yep, I'm about at a half an hour, which I was assuming that's what this podcast was going to be. There's not a whole lot of news. I will definitely update people though on my Magic the Gathering Friday experience. I want to go see a film because of the subscription thing that I got Friday, but I also don't know what movie I'm going to see because I think we're out of movies that I actually want to see. But we'll just probably pick one. Like I mean, I picked Rampage. I didn't want to go see Rampage, but I went and seen that, and I was actually pleasantly surprised because all video game things suck. Oh yeah, that's right. Peter Dinklage was in Infinity War, and what was great was uh, he actually played a dwarf from mythology, but according to Marvel's mythology, yes, they might be small in stature, looking like like an actual dwarf is. He looks all shrunken, but he's not. Uh, but they're giants, so he was like twice the size as Thor. So I thought that was pretty cool, and it actually made me intrigued to maybe look into the Thor comics, because if they actually have a unique twist on the mythology in like a sci-fi fantasy uh, combination thing, I would actually like to see that, because that just piqued my interest anyway. Because he's a dwarf and he makes a new hammer slash axe for Thor in the movie with the with all the blacksmith stuff, which dwarves are known for in fantasy. But of course, it's in a sci-fi setting with very sci-fi uh, blacksmith materials. So I thought that was actually really, really cool, and it piqued my interest as far as the world of Thor. But since I'm not like a huge comic book fan when it comes to actual comics, I don't know anything about it. But anyway, I think well, yeah, Pulp Fiction is definitely one of my favorite Tarantino films. Probably Seven might be my favorite crime slash serial killer type film. But I think I am going to call it right here, and I will catch you all later. I will upload this on Thursday to YouTube and to theopinionatedgeek.com in audio form. I am thinking about streaming Far Cry 5 today, just because I really want to get it out of the way so I can start Divinity Original Sin 2. And since I only got one more person to go through before I actually deal with, I guess, the big boss, the David Koresh wannabe. But yeah. So we will call it that. It's a short one. Episode 18 down. 2 more to get to 20. I still won't be happy until I reach 100. Then I'm like, this is an actual real thing. I'm doing this on a consistent basis. So, anyway, I will call it there for now. And yeah, maybe within an hour or something, I might be back home for Far Cry 5. Anyway, John/Dark Mirror out.